Assemblyman Dov Hikind. Hi, Dov Shavua Tov. How are you?
I'm pretty fine, but I was actually better last week because
Yeah.
I was watching the sun come up in Jerusalem at early in the morning. It was fantastic. Anyway, but it's nice to be back, of course. It was a couple of days, removing myself from reality, having a wonderful time, and being with Governor Huckabee in Jerusalem and Sde Road. It was really quite remarkable. We have a very special show tonight, but I got to tell you, next week, no one wants to miss the show next week. I think potentially it can be one of the most powerful shows we've done in 10 years. It is a story, an incredible story of a young boy who was abused. He is now an adult, married, 4 children, his wife. He and his wife will be here to tell the story of what happened to him and the effect on him today.
15 years later.
Exactly. An amazing, amazing story that I don't think anyone should miss. That's next week. Tell your friends to listen. It will be very, very educational. Tonight we have some really sort of a fun program, or at least the first part of it is, because we have some good friends here in the studio with us.
We have Congressman Ed Towns with us, and we're also going to take your calls later on. We're going to make sure that we listen to you on the issues of the day, and you'll talk to us and you'll let us know. That's going to be later on. And we'll also have State Senator Kevin Parker, who's going to be calling in.
And we will discuss the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit. The story, as it appears, says Satmar teacher sued for millions by former student for sexual abuse. We will discuss, in fact, we'll discuss Bus's Nias, which is one of the major websites, and a lot of the comments that have been made. We'll have Yoni here to talk about some of that stuff.
And we actually had the mother on several weeks ago. We didn't identify her. We identified her as Miriam. She came on anonymously. Now that the suit is filed, we know obviously who the individuals are and who's filing suit. And we also have in the studio with us Joe Lazar, community activist and leader.
And, we have an election coming up. I'm sort of lucky, and I'm thankful to God and to my community that I don't have an opponent. September, what is this? I don't even remember the date.
September the 9th.
September the 9th,
Yes.
A week from this coming Tuesday, is an extremely important day. It's election day, and there are things going on. And I've been stressing all my life how important it is for people to go out and vote. I don't know what else to say, Charney, about how people look at these things. They look at communities, they say, how many people are voting there? Not who they're voting for, but are they voting? Is this a community that counts, that we need to reckon with? Voting is extremely, extremely important, and it's a week from this coming Tuesday. And one of the races going on, and Congressman Ed Towns, I always call him Ed. I mean, he's my friend. We go back when Ed Towns was the deputy borough president. I actually remember Ed walking into the office, and you were always a nice guy. I'm not kidding. You were always easy to talk to, easy to have a conversation with, easy to get advice from. Going back to those days. I mean, I was a kid. You were a little older than me, right?
Well, I remember those days. I was serving as deputy borough president under Howard Gold.
That's right.
Yes, and of course, and we met. That was, that's about 30 years ago.
That's correct. Well, we've both been in office for 26 years, so
right.
That was before that. So it's between 26 and 30 years ago.
Right.
Absolutely. So were you always such a nice guy? I want to know. I mean, I spoke to your wife, by the way, about this. Let me tell you.
I'm interested in her comments.
No, it's true. We also have Joe Lazar here. And
Dov, I'm luckier than you are,
yeah,
because the congressman happens to be my congressman, and I can tell you that...
So you're voting for him?
Not only am I voting for him, I'm asking everybody out there that knows me, that trusts me, to vote for the congressman, because this man has been responsive to every call that anybody has ever made. Anytime I've referred people to him, or anytime there was an issue, no matter what the issue was, he listened and followed through and always delivered. And I think it would be a shame for the community not to realize the man that they've got in this job. There's nobody better.
Let me ask a question, Congressman Towns. what are, what's on people's mind right now more than anything else? So what are people concerned about? You're out there campaigning, and I know you've been working. You went to the convention, but you came back because you're out in the streets working hard. What are people talking to you about?
The number one thing that they're talking about is affordable housing. I mean, people are very concerned about affordable housing. The other thing is that they're concerned about education in terms of the cost of education. That is a huge issue. And the other one is health care. They're talking about health care as well. And these are issues that everywhere you go, you get this. In some neighborhoods, more than others, it's affordable housing. In some neighborhoods, it's health care. But those three things, health care, affordable housing, and education, are the issues that I'm hearing as I walk the streets and as I talk to people. And of course, these are things that we must begin to deal with. Affordable housing is a real issue. And of course, health care. People want health care. And they want to be able to make certain that it's available to them. And that's
at a price they can afford, right?
And no question about it. And then, of course, education, the fact that we need to look at what's going on in education and try and see what we can do to offset the cost. I mean, because, we have private schools, and of course, that people are paying astronomical amounts of money. Also have religious institutions that people are paying a lot of money to send their children. And I think that somewhere along the line that we have to find a way to alleviate the amount of money that they're being paid, that they're paying for the education. And of course, and I think that we can justify it on the basis that, if, they stop paying and everybody went into the public school system, then the public school system would have to pay for it. So I think that the government needs to look at all of this and find ways and methods that they can subsidize. And I think that can be done. And I know we talk about church and state, and I've heard that argument over and over again. But here is something that I think that there's ways that we can do things to be able to make the burden a little lighter for people. And I think that's what we need to begin to focus on.
Church and state is always an easy out. People use that so that they don't have to deal with the issue, but I agree with you, Congressman. We need to deal with these issues, and just putting in excuses like church and state is not going to solve the problem.
Right, because let's face it, suppose every youngster that was in a religious institution or even in a private school, they says, all right, we can't afford it, now they're going to the public school. I mean, let's face it, imagine in terms of how much money the public schools would have to pay. I mean, the cost involved. So I think that we need to look at that and find ways to be of assistance.
You work very closely with the Hasidic groups in Williamsburg. You represent you not only represent that neighborhood, you represent areas of Midwood, but I know you are very, very close to the leadership in Williamsburg, people like Rabbi Niederman. They love you, they admire you. What is that relationship like for yourself?
Well, it's been a relationship that I've enjoyed over the years. The fact that I've been able to work very closely with him. It started out many, many years ago. Rabbi Kestenbaum was a very dear friend. And I never forget when I went into the community to campaign, that Rabbi Kestenbaum said, look, I want to let you know, this person is responsible. He went on to say to them that how many things that he called to put me on and all of that. And he says, I want you to know that if you want somebody that's going to react and respond to our issues and our concerns, this is the man. And I never forget, Rabbi Kestenbaum was the person that really opened the doors for me. And then they had this big breakfast. I'll never forget that. You're bringing back memories. And of course, at this breakfast, I spoke. And I'll never forget, I talked about how important it was to work together. And then I used the analogy about how we must tie our ropes together and all that. And then everybody left out that day saying, tie your ropes together, tie your ropes. And ever since then, it's been this kind of close working relationship, and which I've enjoyed over the